Hello my friends, and welcome back to Ration Nerd. I am absolutely privileged and honored that you decided to spend some of your Sunday with this goofball doing this really fun hobby. It's nerdy, I don't care, I love it, it's a ton of fun, you're here for the ride, and that makes it absolutely 100% worth it. Today we are going to crack into another Australian ration. This is Menu D. I really need to eat this one. This one is a 2022-2023 production, so I need to get to eating this bad boy before it goes bad. And if you need to get around to eating something before it spoils, you can hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and do me a big fat favor. Talk to me in the chat. It is always great to hear from you guys. There's plenty of ways to support the channel, obviously with the liking and the subscribing, but you can also snatch you some merch, which is really cool. We got cool stuff on the merch shop, and you can also join me on Patreon. There's quite a few people that join me on Patreon, and I am actually completely shocked that anybody would spend $5 a month to hang out with me on Patreon. And before we even start cracking into this bad boy, do you want to know where I got this ration? I bet you do. I got this ration from my friend and yours, whose name I will put right up here at the top of the screen for you, so you can go to his eBay store, which there is a clickable link to his eBay store in the description of this video. You click that button, you go on eBay, you check out his absolutely bitching selection of rations. As of today, he had some rockin' stuff up online, but check him out. He has got some really cool stuff online right now. You better hurry up before it's gone, because it's not like he's a warehouse. He only has what he has. Back to the review. Let's get into this Menu D. Love me some Australian rations. Really looking to getting into this guy. Going to be a lot of fun. So let's first cut this bad boy open. So we have unfettered access to the guts. Everybody likes to have unfettered access to the guts. That's what he said. All right, let's see what we have in this big sack of goodness. So we're starting right out with our Jack Link's beef steak bar. Not too shabby. These things are pretty standard, not too shabby. And this actually still has a lot of bounce to it. So this ration, even though it's from 2023, is apparently in pretty decent shape. And caramel flavored energy bar coming in at 40 grams. That's pretty bitchin'. So we have an energy bar. We have an accessory kit. You know how we do. Vegemite. But you know how we do. We'll get into the accessory kit here in a bit. We'll set that off to the side. I hear Fred rattling around in there. That is good stuff. Ooh, then we have a citrus cake. I love anything with cake. I don't think I've ever met a cake I didn't like. But here we have a little citrus cake. That thing feels like it's had the shit kicked out of it. That's all right. We're still going to get it in the face. So we got a little citrus cake dessert action. Then we have some French lamb stew. Absolutely awesome. I love lamb. You love lamb. If you don't, you really should. Lamb is amazing. Can't wait to get into this. I actually have another newer version of Menu D from Australia right over there on my ration storage shelf, which is getting pretty damn cluttered. I'll have to do that one in a few months or so just to see what the differences are. I can tell you there definitely are some differences between this older Menu D and the newer Menu D. We'll get into that in another time in a few months when this isn't going to be super redundant, but we have 250 grams of French lamb stew. Really looking forward to that. And we have an all-fruit bar, tropical flavor, coming in at 40 grams. Awesome. Love me some tropical fruit stuff. We'll check that out with apple cinnamon porridge. I am down like a clown. That sounds amazing. Water, apple puree, yogurt, milk solids, oats, wheat protein, sugar, sunflower kernels. Sounds like a damn good time to me. Apple and cinnamon porridge. That's either a dessert item or a breakfast item. I'm not really sure. And we have a sack of multi-grain shelf-stable bread. Gotta love you some bread. Gotta make some room. This ration's gonna be spreading out everywhere. And we have that little baby can of cheese. That is good stuff. And it feels like it has survived the test of time. It is not bulging or anything like that. That's some Bika processed cheddar. That is good shit. That's what these guys are. These are just pretty ancient. I don't think I'm going after those. Those are just for show. Then we have some cream cracker biscuits that sound more like cream cracker dust. That's all right. We'll find something to toss them in. Maybe we'll toss them in that lamb stew. Some cream cracker biscuits. And we have an orange isotonic drink powder coming in at 35 grams. That's a little chunky. That's okay. We eat stuff. We eat a lot of stuff that we probably shouldn't eat on this channel, so we're not going to have any problem mixing up this isotonic drink powder. Awesome sauce. And we have a chocolate flavored protein drink. Me and these things don't generally get along, but we will have to see if this one is any good. I think the last Australian ration I had a coffee flavored protein drink, which was actually pretty bitchin'. Chocolate flavored, not real sure. We'll find out. And we have a 50-gram chocolate ration. That's going to be a nice little chocolate bar. Not too bad. Then we have some Mentos. These are fruit flavored. Thankfully, these are not like that weird Grandma Rose flavor like we had last time. But we have some fruit flavored Mentos. Not too bad. Then we have a little 49-gram sack of chocolate M&Ms. Not too bad. And we have that super stout, always rough and ready Australian spoon. This thing, I'm telling you, MacGyver probably could have taken over a small third world country with just this spoon. This thing is awesome. You're not bending that unless you put a ridiculous amount of effort into it. You're not breaking it. You can always shovel food in your face with it. You could sharpen this up and shiv some enemy soldiers with it. It would be absolutely great. This is a bitchin' spoon. I love me the Australian spoon. And we have a 50-gram tube of sweetened condensed milk in a nice foil tube. Love sweetened condensed milk, as you all know. If you've been around with me at all, you know I have a little bit of a hard-on for sweetened condensed milk. So here is 50 grams of sweetened condensed, which is going to make, well, just about everything taste better, but it is absolutely going to go with some coffee to make the coffee amazing. And we have 20 grams of plum jam. Love some plum jam. Abso-fucking-lutely. And we have a wild berry isotonic drink powder. Not too bad. 35 grams of wild berry goodness. Then we have a sack of instant mashed potatoes coming in at 60 grams. I really do think the instant mashed potatoes are an epic ration item, especially the instant ones. Super light. Don't take up a lot of room. Just in this 60 grams of mashed potatoes, there's 235 calories. All you do is add 250 mils of water and stir, and you have 230-ish calories of instant mashed potato goodness. I'm sure there's enough stuff in here to season these mashed potatoes or even have it with the stew. I really think the instant mashed potato is an epic ration item. So we have 60 grams of instant mashed potato. We have a big-ass Ziploc bag to help you keep open items from, well, spilling into your pack or getting dirty or bugs getting in there or whatever. Ziploc bag, because Ziploc bag, that's why. And then we have lime and black pepper tuna. Hooray, 85 grams. Lots of protein. It's supposed to be good for you and stuff. Not a big fan of the fishes. So, yeah, we have 85 grams of tuna. I tried to put as much, excitement into that as I possibly could. But as you could tell, there wasn't a whole lot of excitement to go around for the tuna. Sorry about that. Let me have a little sack of napkins. Butt wipe. Not sure. We'll put that over here with the accessory kit. Figure out what that is when we get in there. And we have some biscuit jam sandwich. I am absolutely completely ready to get into these 32 grams of biscuit jam sandwich. If they are anything like the jam sandwiches I had in the last Australian ration, I'm going to be a happy guy when we get to this little sack of cookies. That's different. And we have 250 grams of sweet potato Thai red curry. No clue what that's going to taste like. I kind of like sweet potatoes. I like Thai food. I like curry. I'm not sure about red curry. We'll figure it out. Water, lentils, sweet potatoes, coconut cream, onion. Well, there's no meat in it, but I guess we could throw tuna in it. Oh, that would be rough. But we have 250 grams of sweet potato Thai red curry. Not 100% sure what I'm doing with that, but we will figure it out as we go along. And we have 2 packs of creamer, which is, well, pretty awesome. Even though you have 50 grams of sweetened condensed milk, they give you some creamer to go along with your drinks. Awesome. And we have a little pack of matches. I absolutely love these. These are great. The only thing I could say is they can have an extra striker on the inside. In that case, that got rubbed off or completely saturated. But you have a mix of regular and windproof, waterproof matches. That is absolutely epic. Awesome ration item. I definitely have at least one of these rolling in my own get-home bag because these things are awesome. And, well, I kind of got them with the rations, so why not utilize them? This is a bitchin' ration item. I don't care who you are, what country you're from. That's an excellent addition. Then we have our contents sheet. That tells you how to manage your carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, and all that good stuff. What else we got in here? And we have a long-ass list. Look, a complete menu offering, so that way you can see what is in menu C and D that you didn't get, and maybe you want menu E and you can't have it because you're stuck with the menu that you've got. So that's pretty cool. But you know how we do destructions here on this channel. Bye. And that is everything out of the bag. Then we'll bust into this accessory kit, and whatever this is, whether it's just napkins or TP, we will check it out. Try to be an advanced tool user here. All right, so what do we have? Butt wipe or napkins? That's just that's an odd sized tissue. I'm calling this butt wipe. That's an extra long piece of butt wipe. You know what? You do get quite a bit of it. It's really thin. You would definitely have to stack these up to prevent poke through, but it is what it is. Nobody likes to poke through. That gives you stank finger, and nobody wants to try to eat the rest of their ration with stank finger or just live the rest of their day with stank finger. It's not a good look. So we have some TP. TP is always good. And what else we have bumping around in this here accessory kit? I thought that was going to be a Ziploc, but not so much. And we have some more Mentos. This menu's got like a hard-on for Mentos. So we got some pure, fresh Mentos with green tea extract. Kind of neat. There's like 2 or 3 Mentos floating around in there. Not too bad. Then we have our scouring pad, which has just a little bit of soap on it. That's a really bitchin' ration item. Help you clean up your mess cup. That's completely great. Then we have our tube of my arch nemesis, the Vegemite. No, I'm just kidding. I am definitely going to try the Vegemite in the prescribed manner instead of being a retard and trying to eat way too much Vegemite at one time. We're definitely going to check this out. Want some crackers or some bread, maybe add it to the stew to give everything a bit of that, well, bitter-ass beer flavor, because pretty much what Vegemite tastes like. If you haven't had it, I recommend you try it. It is a lot of fun. We have another one of those Mentos with green tea extract. Pretty cool. And we have 3 rubber bands to help you keep your ration items closed if you've opened them. Maybe these are some kind of crazy survival items. Maybe you're going to make like a slingshot out of these guys and hunt you some small game. I don't know, but you got some rubber bands. Rubber bands are always good. And we have our Fred, or frankly, ridiculous eating device, which looks like Mr. Fred here has seen better days. Like, I'm glad that that's not the only thing I have to shovel the food in my face with, because that's pretty janky looking. That's all right, though. Fred is going to make a bitchin' can opener when we need him to crack open that Bika, but Freds are awesome. I always keep them. Love me some Freds. And we have 2 tea bags. Tea is always nice. And we have 15 grams of tomato ketchup. Having ways to season your food is always a great idea. And we have 2 2-gram packs of salt and 1 2-gram pack of pepper. Seasoning. Seasoning is always awesome. Then we have 2 packs. Look at Australia coming in at a 3.5-gram pack. 2 3.5-gram packs of instant coffee, because you know we got to have that coffee. My lips are barely working as it is because it's way too damn early in the morning for me to be reading and trying to construct sentences, but just seeing the word coffee has literally got my brain working just a little bit better. I can only imagine how much better this face is going to work when I get this coffee in it. This is awesome. 3.5-gram sachets of coffee. You like that? That's like French or something. 3.5-gram sachets of coffee. We got 2 of them. That's amazing. I can't wait to make it. God damn it. I should have made the coffee before I even started the ration review. We also have a little baby Tabasco sauce. We have 2 7-gram packs of sugar. And we have 3 hand sanitizing wipes. Never a bad idea to give you a way to clean up your dirty dick beaters in between meals. Well, my friends, this is everything contained in an Australian Menu D from 2023. I am going to get some breakfast out onto a tray as soon as I figure out what in the hell I'm having. You know I'm having that coffee, though, without any doubt, and I will be right back. All right, and welcome back to breakfast down under style. We're going to be getting into some tea, absolutely some coffee. We're going to rock out that chocolate protein drink for breakfast. We might have a few nibbles of cheese. We're also going to check out that caramel energy bar. We've got our sweetened condensed milk for the coffee, some plum jam, and some Vegemite to try on these cream crackers, if they're still crackers. We have that apple cinnamon porridge, and we're going to get into some beefsteak bar. So without any further ado, because I need it, you know I need it, I gotta have it. If I don't get it, first of all, I'm going to get a headache and I'm going to be a grumpy bastard. Second of all, I need to get rid of these rented lips and start using my own so my brain and my lips can actually work in conjunction with one another. Let's get to making up that coffee before we do any goddamn thing else, because I really need some coffee. I was going to pound all 7 grams for breakfast, but you know what? I think I'm going to save it either for another meal in a day or to have in part of the ration giveaway stuff. So let's check out this instant coffee. Look at that. Nice, large, freeze-dried crystals. They are a little light in the color presentation, but sometimes that can turn out to be a good cup of coffee. They smell delectable. Of course, any coffee at this time in the morning smells delectable to me. Let me get the sniff machine on this one more time. That is a pretty damn good smelling instant coffee, and I am really happy that it's freeze-dried. Hopefully, That makes for an excellent cup of coffee because I absolutely fucking need one right now. And we're going to get that tea bag rocking. And we have a little Red Bell tea, not too shabby. That has a really nice black tea smell to it. I can't wait to get into that. That smells pretty awesome. We're going to chuck 7 grams of that diabetes powder in with that tea because why not? And let's check out this 60 grams of chocolate protein drink. No tear notch, but that's probably a good thing. That means this thing won't bust open in your ration and leave it a well, there is a tear notch up here at the top. I'm retarded. All right, so there is a tear notch. Fair enough. Let's tear that open. I'm always going to make a mess. Like, regardless of how I try, what I do, we're always going to make a mess. Well, let's get a look at that protein powder. I mean, kind of just looks like chocolate drink mix, so it smells pretty hideous actually. Honestly, that smells like cardboard and powdered dog food. That is weird. That smells like dog food and cardboard. Like, you know the way kibble smells? That's the way that smells. I hope it tastes better. I hope it tastes better than it smells, because right now I'm really hating on the protein shake, at least with the way that it smells. Let's just shut up and get some water in this stuff. My asshole just puckered a little bit. I poured about 2 tablespoons of scalding hot water right on my leg in this process. It was epic. Should have been here. It was great. That looks nice and dark and rich, and I am absolutely excited to see it. And this is allegedly only supposed to get 200 mils of water. I call bullshit. That's a lot of powder. So we're just going to go ahead and give it about yay much. And we'll work on that, I don't know, as time goes on. That's going to be a bitch to mix up. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get that coffee mixed. Absolutely. And we're going to stir that sugar up in that tea and give that some time to do the steeping action. And I'm going to need that for the coffee, so we're going to get this sweetened condensed to open up because, well, sweetened condensed is the bomb. Got your nice little point in the other end to open up your tube. Absolutely fabulous, and you get your traditional little squirt of sweetened condensed coming out of the end. And we have to get some of that sweetened condensed in the coffee because that is absolutely where it belongs. Sweetened condensed milk. That shit is amazing. Let's mix that up in this nice looking cup of coffee here. Ooh, that coffee is very strong. That really didn't cream it up as much as I thought it would, but man, sweetened condensed milk and coffee, that is such an excellent treat in the morning. Couldn't do it every day, but man, sweetened condensed in your coffee is absolutely banging. Let's see what we can do about mixing this dog food shake up. And this thing is just about as willing to mix with this water as I am to go get a colonoscopy. I mean, this stuff does not want to mix with this water. It's almost like it just has an aversion to it. This is not a great mixing shake. I kind of wish I could have just stuck this in a bottle and shook the shit out of it. That might be the way you're supposed to do it, but man, this thing does not want to mix. We'll come back to that when we're ready to take a drink of it because I've been stirring for a couple of minutes now off camera, and this thing just isn't getting any better. All right, and before we do anything else, you know we got to get a sip of this coffee to get this face working. Take a look at that. That is a good-looking cup of coffee. That should be a nice, strong cup of coffee. At least it looked like it. Let's get some in the face and figure it the hell out. That is absolutely wonderful. That is a really good cup of coffee. Very strong, mildly acidic, which I absolutely enjoy. That freeze-dried coffee is a great quality coffee. Nice, nutty background taste to it. This is almost like a freeze-dried dark roast. It didn't appear that way. The freeze-dried chunks were very light in appearance, but this has a very dark, rich, bold coffee flavor that I'm absolutely in love with. Speaking of being in love, let me have some private time with the coffee. I'll be right back. And that is really good. That 3.5 gram portion allowed me to make about a 9 or 10 ounce cup of coffee. That's absolutely great. Still nice and strong. I'm extraordinarily happy with that, especially with the sweetened condensed added. Makes it really creamy, nice and sweet, not overly sweet with the amount of sweetened condensed I put in there. A good strong cup of coffee to kickstart your face in the morning is absolutely what you need. All right, now let's see if these cream crackers survived the journey. I have a feeling they did not. They sound like a bunch of dust rolling around in there. Hopefully I'm wrong. Oh, these things definitely saw better days. I think they really need to explore different and better packaging options for these things. All right, and those things just got the shit beat out of them in the shipping process. And you can see at some point they had nice little letters imprinted in the top of them, which are, well, illegible now. I couldn't tell you what they said unless I put the cracker puzzle together, and quite honestly, I'm not that concerned. I'm not building a cracker puzzle. Let's check out this caramel flavored energy bar. That's looking pretty dense. It's still a little pliable. Has a weird smell to it. Kind of smells like raisins that have sat out in the sun too long, if that makes any sense. Well, that definitely has a really, really odd smell. Kind of a shiny consistency to it. Nice and thick. We'll give you a little cross section of that while we're up here. So, I mean, yeah, that's an energy bar. We'll take a bite of it here soon and see what that's all about. Let's get this Jack Link out. That's going to be pretty easy to describe. It tastes like beef jerky, looks like beef jerky. That is okay by me. Whew, that smells really good, but just has a really powerful smell to it. You can smell that all the way back here. I got like beef in my face. And now we're going to have to get our Fred and use Fred to open up this cheese so we can have a little bit of cheese with breakfast. Oh yeah, a little of Fred action. I like Fred. I know these things take forever to open a can, but you know what? Fred's awesome. Love me some Fred. Thank you, Fred, for your service. Much appreciated. We'll put you back up here in between the other Fred and the rubber. All right, let's check out this processed cheese. I wish there was a way to get this out of the can, but there's just not. It's okay, though. That is a puck of processed cheese goodness. Now we're going to check out this apple and cinnamon porridge, which the weird thing was, I really just decided I wanted to try this cold. I wasn't in the mood for like a hot meal for breakfast. I mean, quite honestly, I'm never in the mood for breakfast, but I just wanted to give this a shot cold. Why not? It can't hurt. That looks pasty and kind of disgusting in the package. Let's check that out. Yeah, that's probably not the most appetizing thing. It is cool that it's already hydrated. I kind of like it when it's not hydrated. I think it just keeps it, I don't know, fresher, longer, better. I don't know. We'll squirt it out onto the tray, see what this porridge is like, and at least since it's not hot, I don't have to scorch my fingers off trying to get it out of here. Oh yeah. Kind of just looks like I'm squirting some cookie dough out onto the tray, which, well, that's not the most horrible thing ever. Let's rescue all the porridge out of that little sack there. There. All right, so here we are. Now we're going to crack open that Vegemite and jam as soon as we're ready to bust into the crackers. But let's go ahead and get a taste of this, well, apple cinnamon porridge. Kind of just looks like a pile of cookie dough. I'm not really upset by that at all. Let's get some of this up to you guys so you can see what I'm working with. Check that out. I mean, kind of just looks like I'm getting ready to pound down a spoonful of cookie dough. I don't know. Let's give it a shot. You know, I don't think there'd be much difference in this if it was hot. It's a little tangy, has a lot of vitamin C, has kind of a strange flavor when you first put it in your face. Then it starts to mellow out into like a really heavy vitamin C and apple flavor. It has a little bit of a weird chemical aftertaste that I'm not very fond of. I don't think it would have been any better hot than it is here cold. I don't think it would have taken away any of that weird flavor. It's not bad. Certainly not the best thing I've ever had. As it stands right now, this is just kind of mediocre. The apple cinnamon flavor isn't all that great. I mean, to be honest with you, the more I sit here and talk about it, the less I like it. Yeah, the preservatives in this are pretty hardcore. It would have been way better if they just would have left this as a dry mix that the soldier could have just rehydrated on his own. You already don't get any flameless ration heaters with this, so you're always going to have to either boil it in your mess cup or just heat it up in your mess cup by emptying the retort pouch out into your mess cup. But this stuff, just not great. I kind of feel bad for any soldier that gets stuck with this weird tasting shit for breakfast in the morning. Ugh. I try to eat everything. I really do. That's just got such a weird flavor. I'm just going to have to hurry up and scarf this down. The grains, the oats in this, they're not even noticeable. They're absolutely mushy. There's no texture to this. It's kind of like cookie dough with a lot of vitamin C, weird aftertaste, and the fruit that's in this, it just doesn't taste great. This is, just kind of pasty and nasty. This is certainly not what anybody that really enjoys breakfast would want to eat. I'm just going to put the rest of this stuff down so I can move on, because this stuff's actually just kind of nasty, especially the more you eat of it. And there's the last bite of that. Thankfully, that was a small package. Something told me to put some extra items out on the tray with that cereal. I'm completely glad I listened to my intuition at that point. And to wash that apple cinnamon chemical flavor out of my mouth, we're going to have some of this nice black tea. And this certainly isn't the highest quality black tea I've ever had. It's pretty decent. It's just kind of standard. I hate to say that, but it's kind of middle of the road as far as black tea goes. Not an exceptional flavor, but it certainly has some black tea flavor. It's decent. It's doable. It's black tea. It's got some sugar in it. At least I got the taste of that shit out of my mouth. And moving on, let's get on to this energy bar, this caramel flavored energy bar that in and of itself has a pretty weird smell to it. Man, it just really, it smells like sour raisins. We're going to get a bite and we're going to pray that it doesn't taste like sour raisins. It's supposed to be caramel. And the funny thing is with this bar, thankfully it does not smell and taste the same. It has a different taste than the smell, which is a great thing. But it only tastes like caramel on the aftertaste. It just tastes like a mildly sweet kind of protein bar flavor with some of these soy or rice crisps bouncing around in there. There's definitely some, looks like raisins or currants in there. Maybe the currants just had a really funky smell to them. The caramel flavor is definitely an afterthought and an aftertaste. It only tastes like caramel in the aftertaste. Otherwise, it has a very mildly fruity flavor on the front end. Nice, like chewy texture. Not too bad. And then once you chew it up a little bit, it just kind of starts to melt away in your mouth, which is kind of pleasant. Thankfully, this thing does not taste the way it smells. This is actually pretty decent. Doesn't really taste like caramel until you're almost done chewing the bite you're chewing, but it's still decent and completely doable. This isn't too shabby. And let's really take my taste buds and put them on a roller coaster ride. Let's go from sweet and caramel aftertaste right into that Jack Link. Jack Links are all over the place, so this is probably a pretty typical item for most of you guys watching. There's a nice little cross section on that beef stick. This guy right here, smells of pepper and smoke. I'm going to get a bite of that. This is probably going to be really good. Good kick of protein, as well as a bit of a morale boost. Nice and chewy. Let's just stick this in the face. And that Jack Link is absolutely everything you'd think it would be. Just a standard Jack Link beef bar. It is sweet, smoky, very salty, really chewy, and it just tastes really good. I would think something like this would be a very appreciated item in any ration. It's really good. Certainly something to do with your face, nice and chewy. Now we're going to get on to the Vegemite. I completely screwed the pooch on the Vegemite last time, which everybody and their brother, especially the Australians, decided to tell me ad nauseum exactly how I was supposed to be using this Vegemite, because I completely screwed the pooch last time with the Vegemite, but that's okay. I did say that I had another Australian ration. In fact, I have 2 more, not including this one. And so here is my redemption challenge for the Vegemite. So we are going to try the Vegemite as I was instructed. I'm going to pop that little top there, get some of this Vegemite out. So I put a ton of it on bread, and I also tried it on crackers, and I completely screwed it up apparently. So what I'm supposed to do is put a very small amount of the Vegemite on a cracker and then smear it around really good. I'm not really sure what a small amount is, other than I was told to spread it extremely thin. So that makes sense, because I was eating big blobs of it and it was just grossing me out. If you've never had Vegemite and you're here in the United States or somewhere else that just doesn't do Vegemite, realistically, Vegemite is like the bottom of the beer brewer's barrel. That's what they make it out of, and it certainly has that kind of flavor to it. So if you grew up with Vegemite, that is probably a flavor profile you are looking forward to on a regular basis. If you're like me and your first experience with Vegemite was in a foreign ration, it was a complete clusterfuck for me. My taste buds were like, why are you licking the bottom of a beer barrel? But that's okay. We are going to give it a try, and that spoon is just going to be a mess. So I'm just going to go ahead and finger bang this biscuit, and I'm just going to go ahead and do as I was instructed by all those Aussie people, that I should put a thin layer of this on the biscuit. So we went ahead and spread that out like crazy. That should be thin enough. If you're Australian and you're watching, tell me if I'm wrong, and we'll spread this. I'll probably have like brown finger for a while. Everybody will think I got a poke through and it just stained me. So there's a really thin layer of that Vegemite. So there's that, and we're going to break out some of that cheese as soon as I wipe this, well, this stuff off my finger. All right, now we're going to get some of this excellent Bika processed cheese. We'll do a little flavor profile on that all by itself. This is as close as you're going to get to real cheese out of a military ration or in the field, unless you just bring a block of real cheese with you. This stuff is shelf stable and canned and really yummy. It's a little bit like Cheese Whiz. It definitely has that processed flavor. I really like the Bika brand because it has a lot more texture to it. It's not as creamy, it has more of a actual cheese texture to it. Let's just shut up and stick that in the face, then we'll talk about it. And that's nice and sharp. It has a bit of a bite to it, which you wouldn't expect from a processed cheese. That's actually really nice. So we're going to go ahead and put some little nuggets of cheese on that cream cracker, because this is what I was told. It was either butter or cheese, and I do not have any butter, obviously. And that's a pretty thin smear of Vegemite. I don't think I'm getting it much thinner than that unless I employ some specialized tools, which I don't have. So there you go, Australian critics, those people who told me how wrong I was in the comments. That is a cream cracker with a very thin layer of Vegemite and some cheese on there. Now we're going to knock this back in the face and see if I like it this time or if I'm still hating on it. Well, son of a bitch, that's actually really good. I'm going to grab this cracker that has that little spooge of Vegemite on it. I'm going to stick it on the top of that and stick that in the face. Now, that is absolutely pretty crazy. I have to admit, all those people in the comments that told me I was using Vegemite incorrectly last time, they were absolutely correct. A really thin layer of Vegemite on that cracker with the cheese just gives it a really dark, savory flavor. Just a teeny tiny hint of that like bottom of the beer barrel flavor, but combined with that cracker and the cheese, and they also said to use butter, I could totally see that. It would take something like this cracker that was extremely boring by itself and really bring a new depth of flavor to it. I can see why you only get a tiny little tube, because you really don't need to use a lot of it to bring flavor to something. Salty, savory, kind of, I hate to say this, but it's just kind of dark tasting. If dark was a taste, Vegemite is a dark tasting thing. That was really good. I'm going to make another one, to be honest with you. Now that I've had Vegemite in the proper prescribed fashion, thank you all those people who told me how wrong I was in the comments, because I kind of would have missed out on this opportunity to have Vegemite the way I was supposed to have it if I didn't like take the recommendations of the people that comment on my videos. So thanks to all those people that told me that I was screwing the pooch, because I absolutely was. This is actually a really yummy item. You almost like need like a little paintbrush to paint it on as thin as you need to put it on the cracker to get it to taste right. These are excellent ration components. The crackers are definitely hurting and could use some help. They need to figure out a better way to package those, because honestly, I could have sat here eating the meat stick, the cheese, the crackers with the Vegemite and sipped on some coffee and been absolutely fine. We're going to throw another one of these in the face because I'm actually kind of bitter and sad that I didn't know what I was doing the first time. Excellent flavor combo with the cheese and the crackers. I'm going to have to try a real thin layer of this on the bread later. We are going to save that cheese for either lunch or dinner, so we'll definitely get our chance. But we've got to give this plum jam a day in court because, well, plum jam is usually goddamn amazing. And I want some plum jam. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. A little bit runny and then a little bit thick. Like I probably should have kneaded it a little bit better, but that is all right by me. Take a look at that. That's a good looking plum jam right there. Let's throw that in the old face hole. That plum jam has an absolutely excellent flavor. I am definitely going to make sure I use all of that. It is great. Very lovely, sweet flavor. If you like plums, you would love this jam. It has a pronounced plum flavor, which I really like. Only a medium level of sweetness for a jam, which is perfectly fine by me. I'm just gonna smash it all on this one cracker because we don't have that many whole crackers to put that on. I know that looks like a big, enormous pile of plum jam, but it has such a great flavor, especially on these really plain crackers. It needs a lot of extra jam. That's going right in the face. That's a high quality plum jam. That's absolutely yummy. Love it. Well, guys, that was... Damn it. That fucking protein shake. Damn it. I guess we'll stir this dog food smelling protein shake around. I was trying to get away without drinking it, but I knew there'd be 500 comments about how you didn't drink the protein shake. That's all right. We're going to get to it. So we're going to try some of this chocolate protein shake. Let's give it a sniff now that it has some water in it. And that still kind of has that dry dog food kibble kind of smell. Not looking forward to this, but we're going to knock some of this back in the face. God damn it. That is fucking horrible. That does not taste anything like chocolate even. That tastes like wet cardboard. Like the dog food smell, thankfully, does not transfer into the taste, but it really just kind of tastes like wet cardboard. I mean, here, we'll get one more taste just for the record to say I wasn't being a total asshole, but honestly, This is like a nice room temperature cup of wet cardboard mash. It's disgusting. Oh. That shit is so bad. Like, I can't even understand why you would package something like that and expect that a soldier is going to even bother with it. If it tastes like shit, they're not going to eat it or drink it. So what's the point of even putting it in the ration just so you can say you gave them a protein drink? Nobody's drinking that shit. Nobody likes that. Not unless you like licking wet cardboard boxes or something. Nobody is going to drink that. What is the point? That's nasty. Soldiers deserve better. Come on, Australia. Last time I had a ration, I was in love with it. I called the video like ration sex because it was literally like really exciting. That is pretty disgusting. Please do better. I need to wash that down with some coffee to get that wet cardboard box taste out of my mouth. I mean, frankly, you guys won me over with the coffee. That is an excellent cup of coffee. Absolutely banging. Okay, now that I had a drink of that nasty shit, that was breakfast, guys. I'm going to sit here, make up some more of these crackers with Vegemite and cheese. You will see the cheese make a return at either lunch or dinner. I'm only going to have a little bit more of it. I'm going to finish up that yummy Jack Link. I'm going to finish up this bar because it's not really all that hateful. Absolutely going to suck down that coffee. Going to finish off that tea because it's not too bad. And then, in 3 or 4 hours, I'll see you back here for some lunch. All right, everybody, welcome back to lunch. And as you can see, we have some shelf-stable bread. We have some tuna. We have that Vegemite and cheese. We got some M&Ms. We've got that sweet potato Thai red curry. Not quite sure how I feel about that dish. We'll figure it out here in a second. And we have that all-fruit bar. We're also going to get into this isotonic drink powder orange flavor. So we're going to get to mixing up this crusty drink powder that's in here. So this says to add to 500 to 600 milliliters of water, which is quite a lot. We're going to do our best. It'll probably be pretty strong. That's okay, though. A nice strong drink. Never hurt nobody. I do like Australian rations for the fact they have a lot of different components in them. A lot of these snacks and bars could be eaten on the move throughout the day, which is really cool. We are doing them all at 3 different meals. Let's get this orange drink all nice and mixed up. All right, and while it's nice and freshly mixed, let's get a little sip of that orange drink. Wow, that's actually pretty damn good. A little bit salty, but nice and sweet. Definitely has a decent orange flavor. Almost like it has some citrus oil essence in it. That's actually pretty good. Not bad at all. You can definitely taste the salt, so it kind of loses that on the isotonic beverage. The best isotonic beverages are the ones you can't really taste the salt. This one you can, but it's still really yummy. I'm gonna have some more of that. Let's see what this shelf-stable bread has to bring to the table. There is a tear notch. I should probably pay more attention. Open up your eyeballs. And that's a nice looking loaf of some whole grain bread. Not too bad at all. Let's get a little sniff. And you know, that smells like shelf-stable bread. It is a really good looking soft loaf of bread though. A whole lot better than your standard Bridgeford product, in my humble opinion. Of course, I'll save that complete judgment until we get a taste of it. That actually looks really nice and is nice and soft. And I mean, this is kind of silly. You all know what M&Ms are at this point. If you don't, you're living under a rock. I'm really sorry for you. These are little candy-coated chocolate balls of yumminess. What's my favorite flavor M&M? Blue, obviously. That's my favorite flavor. And this fucking tuna. Ah, man. You know, the lime and black pepper just kind of makes it even worse. Citrus accentuates the taste of fish. I didn't need anything to accentuate this tuna, but they gave it to me whether I like it or not. Should we even bother to smell it? Yeah, it smells like citrus and tuna. Makes me want to hurl a little bit. That's all right. We'll stick it out on the tray, and we're going to get a couple bites, whether we like it or not. Tuna's not the worst thing on the planet. If you have a good, high-quality, like albacore tuna, doesn't taste uber fishy, and you can find that sometimes, I can eat that without any issues. But when you start adding like lime and all this other crazy shit to it, it all just goes downhill from there for me. If you're new to the channel, I have a little bit of an aversion to seafood. I'm not a seafood guy. Anything that swims, I'm not into. Anything that has fur or feathers and walks on feet or flies in the air, I'm eating it. So let's check out this all fruit tropical. Yes, look at that. That's just like a big, soft, gooey fruit roll-up. That is epic looking. That smells amazeballs too. Check out that thick, just like gelatinous bar of fruity goodness. I can't wait to sink my choppers into that. I'm going to set him a little further back just to make sure none of that shit squishes onto my awesome fruit bar. Haven't taken a bite of it yet, but I have a feeling that's going to be amazeballs. Now we need to check out this sweet potato Thai red curry. Again, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to feel about this, because I kind of like sweet potatoes, but not all that much, and there's no meat in here, which kind of blows. So we boiled this like crazy for well over 10 minutes. And as you can see, the techno boil is in full effect. So this is nice and hot. We're going to get this open and splayed out. Oh, god damn it. Just squirted right on my shirt. Just splashed right off of there. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of it on my shirt. That's epic. So that looks like a goddamn mess. It kind of looks a little bit like a barf bag on an airplane, but that's okay. All right, now let's give this a smell. That smells very odd. It smells like sweet potatoes and cinnamon and curry, which is a really weird combination. It smells sweet and curry at the same time. Not going to be my flavor profile if the smell and the taste line up. Let's get that big greasy mess of lentils, sweet potato, and red curry shit out on the tray. Oh boy, that looks like a really, damn. That looks like a really big, nasty fart waiting to happen. Like, I'm pretty positive that this is going to be, well, one day, Mrs. Ration Nerd is going to be tired of this shit. She's going to be like, that's it, Mr. Ration Nerd. No more rations for you, or I'm out of here. I'm tired of smelling your ass around the house. You never know. It could happen. It could totally happen. Hopefully, she puts up with me. You know, bless her little heart for that. Bless her little heart for that. As much as I don't feel like this is a great idea, let's get every last little drop of that sweet potato curry goodness out onto this tray right here. Oh, all right. So let's see here. We have some very small lentils in there. Looks like we could have, that looks like an onion. That's always a good thing. Then we just have this pasty mess, which is definitely the sweet potatoes. Looks like we have some potato hunks in there. That's always good. Man, I really hope this tastes a whole lot better than it smells, because it really smells like cinnamon and curry, and I don't know. It doesn't smell great. It smells like Christmas gone wrong. Like, I don't know how that makes any sense, but it kind of smells like if somebody shit in the living room in Christmas. All right, let me quantify that statement. So if you were to take your living room that has the Christmas tree and the presents and probably some cinnamon bullshit everywhere and Santas and ho-ho-ho and garland and all that crap, and somebody took a shit in the middle of the floor, that's kind of what this smells like. It smells like Christmas and shit all at the same time. I know that's really weird, but stick with me. I'm not lying to you. It has a really crazy smell to it. We're going to get some bites. No matter what, we try everything. Even that, we're just going to roll with it. Let's get a bite of this and see what this is bringing to the table. At the very least, I know I've probably got some really decent bread, Vegemite, and cheese to munch on for lunch, which isn't bad. Maybe I can pack some of that tuna in there to give us a protein kick. This is the thing that's really got me concerned, because that smells really odd. So let's literally bite this Christmas duty bullet. So let me show you. God, this really looks like somebody just chucked up on my tray. That's all right, though. I've eaten some nastier looking things in life. So let's take a look at that. You want this bite? Your bite? Totally your bite. Your bite? Damn it. All right, fine. My bite. All right, so let's get a bite of this. And hopefully, we're pleasantly surprised by the flavor not matching the smell. Like the carpet doesn't match the drapes and somebody gets really happy. That's what I'm hoping for here. In the face. I mean, that's kind of a train wreck. So it's all right. The texture is just completely gone. It's really pasty. The problem is it has this sweet cinnamon background flavor that hits you as soon as you put it in your mouth. And then there's a little bit of that sweet potato. They tend to lean on the sweet side of the flavor profile. Then you have this curry in here, and then the lentils, which are just, well, they're just beans, so they're just kind of, you know, mushy and savory. This is very odd. It has this crazy background cinnamon flavor I just can't get away from. Maybe that's the red curry thing. Maybe somebody put some cinnamon in this like it was a goddamn good idea. It totally wasn't. This has a weird, perfumey, cloying aftertaste that I find very unpleasant. I'm going to continue to try to eat some of it just to see if I can like beat my taste buds into submission. I really don't think so. As much as I hate to leave food on the plate, as expensive as these things are, and as much as I really like the experience of doing this, that is a flavor profile I just can't get my head around. It's almost like eating, I don't know, like beans and perfume at the same time. It's really odd. I really don't like it. That's so bad. It literally, it's like eating a fucking mouthful of perfume. That's really disgusting. It literally tastes like somebody took a dish of food, sprayed it with perfume, and I'm just like sticking a spoon into it, and I got like grandma's perfume in the back of my throat. Oh, that's really disgusting. Why? Why? You could have just put lentils in a bag and not even seasoned them, and it would have been better than this shit. Oh, it really tastes like you're eating perfumed beans. Bad, nasty perfume too. Not like some good French shit or something that your lady sprays behind her ear and next thing you know, you're like rock hard and ready to go. This is totally some grandma perfume on beans. That's really, okay. One more. Why, I don't know, because it's interesting, but I hate it at the same time. Let's have a bite of grandma together. That sounds fucking disgusting. Oh, and that is the last of that. No more grandma sauce for this guy. That's disgusting. I'm really sorry. I love me some Australian people, and I love me some Australian rations, but that is fucking nasty. Like, you would have to be a grandma perv to really like that. That is absolutely hateful. It tastes like cheap perfume and beans. That's really disgusting. Moving on, literally moving on. Like, that tastes so horrible. I'm actually looking forward to getting a bite of this lime and pepper tuna, which I'm going to do here because at least I know what flavor is about to accost my face. So let's check out this lime and pepper tuna, which I'm kind of excited about to get the grandma taste out of my mouth. That's absolutely disgusting. And that's it. The only way for me to find seafood at all appetizing is first, I need to get a bite of like hot pasty grandma. Then when I put a bite of that tuna in my face, it doesn't offend me nearly as much. That is not a white albacore tuna. This is definitely like the cheaper dark meat tuna. It's not hateful. I could eat this if I really had to. The lime is very subtle. The pepper is way more pronounced. And this was packed in water and sunflower oil, so it does help to cut down on the fishiness. And in comparison to like hot pasty grandma, this tuna is actually pretty decent. So this bread, look at that. That is nice and soft. In stark comparison to the shelf-stable breads you would find like a Bridgeford product in a USMRE, that actually has a little bit of bounce to it. Feels kind of soft and flexible. Just doesn't feel like a piece of like rubber bread. So I'm going to try that with a little bit of the tuna, because it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to put this tuna down, having something like the bread to cut the flavor. That ought to be pretty decent. So rather than trying to cut this and make a sandwich, I'm just going to get a bite of stanky fish and a bite of this nice fluffy bread and see how that goes. And that bread's actually really good. Kind of sad I didn't get a bite of it before I ate the tuna with it. But let's do that now. Let's get a bite of this bread all by itself so we can talk about it. That actually looks like bread. It definitely has that shelf-stable bread smell. Let's get a flavor profile of this bread all by its lonesome. And that's great. That doesn't taste like shelf-stable bread at all. Certainly doesn't taste like a fresh-baked loaf of bread, but it does not have that weird shelf-stable bread chemical aftertaste. I can really get down with that. The whole grains in this are nice. You can actually bite into some of them as you're chewing the bread, which is really great. This is best shelf-stable bread I think I've had yet. And I've had a fair few pieces of shelf-stable bread products, trust me. Now it's time to move on to this Vegemite and cheese on some shelf-stable bread. It's crazy. Last time I had an Australian ration, I was hating on the Vegemite. I think I gave it like 2 tries. Used way too much of it. That was my fault. I didn't understand how to use it. But now that I have a much better idea of how much Vegemite I should realistically be spreading on this stuff, actually is really good. Very happy that I took the advice of all the people that reached out to me in the comments to figure this Vegemite out. This main is, for my flavor palette, completely inedible. And really the Vegemite is saving the day. Look at me talking about Vegemite saving the day. Spreading this stuff thin on something that's porous like bread is certainly a challenge. Now let's get some of that cheese out of there. I told you the cheese would be back with a vengeance. And we're going to make a little Vegemite and cheese sandwich, which quite honestly I'm pretty stoked about, especially after getting a bite of grandma in your mouth, which is never what you want to do for lunch or any meal or ever. Oh wow, what a win. That is so good. That's it. That is the rest of lunch for me. I'm gonna have a Vegemite and cheese sandwich. That's actually really good. This Vegemite is pretty banging. I'm really glad I took everybody's advice because this is oddly very satisfying. I know that looks professional, doesn't it? Smash that all down. That's good shit right there. That is a Vegemite and cheese sandwich from an Australian menu number D. And I never thought I'd say this, but I'm really looking forward to this bite of Vegemite. Hell yes, that's really good. Oh, look at that little lonely cheese nugget. Let's give him a home right here in my face. I would have been really jolly if that was a bag of chicken, like peppered chicken. I would have been completely jolly. It being fish, meh, it's okay. It kind of works. It's the protein boost you would definitely need. As you know, I take a bite or sometimes multiple bites of lots of different things. Go back through the channel, check out the Black Squid of Doom video that I did twice because the first video sucked the balls and I wasn't going to allow that to be the only video of that ration I put out there. At least I take a bite of everything. This tuna's not hateful with this Vegemite and cheese sandwich, but Pasty Grandma is completely off the goddamn menu. You want to know what this is? This is a fuck that Pasty Grandma stuffed spoon drop. All right, let's clean up that palate with this pretty excellent orange isotonic beverage. So now that we cleaned up the palate, we can get into these sweet items. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on M&Ms. They have a candy coating. It's milk chocolate on the inside. My favorite flavor is blue. What's yours? And then we have this all fruit bar, which I'm really looking forward to. I'll give you a cross section on this, even though I'm not sure it's really necessary. It is just a big gummy bar of fruity goodness, and I can't wait to get this thing in my face. Let's try a bite of this guy. It's going to be great. And that is absolutely delectable. That is, like, texture-wise, somewhere in between like a fruit chew candy, like a gummy bear or something like that, and a fruit roll-up combined. A tiny little bit granular because this thing was made with actual real fruit. This thing is only mildly sweet, but packed full of all kinds of yummy fruit flavors. This thing is amazing. This is certainly a morale boost. Easy to eat on the move. This thing is banging. And while we're at it, let's check out one of these Mentos Pure Fresh with green tea extract. Let's see if we can get one of these buggers out of there. They're definitely kind of interesting looking. I'm just going to go for one of these guys. Let's see what that's all about. And then the camera died, so I had to wait. I had to take the camera back upstairs, wait for it to charge up. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm really sorry about that. As you can see, like, Hot Pasty Grandma has been sitting here for a while, getting kind of dried out. Thank God, that might be easier to scrape off the tray that way, and it smells a whole lot less like perfume. That gum was actually really good. Nice, soft mint. A little bit of an odd texture. It's a very soft chewing gum. Really good. As I was going to say, before the camera went dead, that was lunch. I'm not finishing that nasty grandma paste because nobody should have to eat that. You know how I feel about seafood, so I'm not exactly excited about that. We're going to save Mr. Vegemite. I have a feeling he's going to make a guest appearance at dinner. We're all out of bread and cheese, which is a real son of a bitch because that was really good with Vegemite. And I will be back here in 3 or 4 hours where we'll wrap this shit up with some dinner. Meanwhile, I'm going to munch on some M&Ms. Maybe I'll even have some more gum. I think I might water that down some more and try it at a much more reasonable strength because that's actually kind of yummy. I'll see you guys soon.
Pasty grandma sauce.
All right, my friends, and welcome back to dinner. As you know, we are getting the rest of the ration out on the tray. So that said, we're going to get into that wild berry isotonic drink powder. We got our instant mashed potatoes, our biscuit jam sandwiches. We have this citrus cake, our chocolate ration, and that little lammy stew, which has been boiled furiously and is just too damn hot to touch right now. So let's start out by making up that drink just like we normally do. This one's kind of crusty like the last one. That's all right. We'll make it happen. Let's get some of that wild berry out in there. See what this wild berry's all about. Ugh, that looks brown. I don't know too many wild berries that are like light chocolate brown in color. We'll give it a day in court. You never know. Could be the best drink on the planet. You know how we roll. Don't hate, just hydrate. And unless that's supposed to be wild berry tea, that certainly looks like it's a strange color. Let's mix it up and see if it gets any better. And unless those are just some berries I don't know about, that certainly looks more like a yellowish brown. That's okay. Never know. It could taste amazing. So let's see if these biscuit jam sandwiches are just as cute and cuddly as I remember them from my first Australian ration. Come on. Give me little heart-shaped cookies. This is awesome. Aw, love you guys too. That's absolutely great. And these things held together in their shape. Look at that. Nice little heart saying, love you guys. Mwah. That's so amazing. I love me some little hearts in the military cookies. That's the best. And hey, if you're out doing something for the military and you're eating out of a ration like this, life probably sucks pretty good. So having a little smoochy heart in your ration, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I might poke fun at it, but maybe it just brings a little smile to your face. If nothing else, the taste of these little badass cookies will absolutely bring a smile to your face. Let's see what this citrus cake looks like. I'm a little worried that this thing is more just like citrus dust. Bag on these rations really doesn't do a great job at protecting all the components. See if we can get that out of there in sort of one piece. I really hope so. Never had the citrus cake. Really looking forward to it. Okay. We need a doctor to extricate this thing. This thing does not want to come out of that package. See if I can just slide my finger up in there. We'll finger bang this package a little bit. See if we can coax that cake out. Come on, baby. Let me get that. Get it in there. Oh, come on. Come out in one piece for me. Oh, there. Well, yeah, that's one piece. Nothing left in the package, not too shabby. That almost looks like it was baked in the pack, like it was put inside of the retort pouch and baked inside of it, because it has that weird glossy sheen on the outside. That is, well, honestly, a little disturbing, kind of cool all at the same time. Has an excellent citrus smell, though. I hope that is as good as making a mess. I hope that tastes as good as it smells. That smells absolutely awesome. Let's see what this pack of mashed potatoes looks like. If you've ever made instant mashed potatoes in your life, you're not going to be amazed, but if you haven't, prepare to be amazed, because this is what dehydrated potato flakes looks like. And this pouch does have a really convenient Ziploc in there. Ooh, look, those are actually seasoned. Check that out. Nice little seasoning action going on in there. And they smell like absolutely nothing, but this does have a nice gusset on the bottom, so I think what I'm going to do is make these inside of the pouch and be a little bit smarter about it than I normally am. So this is calling for 250 mils or 1 cup of boiling water. I'm going to head this off at the pass, and I think I want to put just a dab of Vegemite in there just for a little extra flavor. Inside of a bunch of mashed potatoes, I think that, and how we get it off of here, I have no clue. But we're going to put a little dab of Vegemite in there and allow that to mix up with the potatoes. I think that'll make an excellent seasoning option. We're also going to throw our salt and pepper in the mix, just so that way we can get these taters tasting great. We're not going to use all the pepper in the potatoes. We are going to save some. Oh, yeah, there's a good bit of pepper in there. We're going to save some for the stew, so we'll set that off to the side. Now we need to put our boiling water in there. Making potatoes. And the cool thing is we can give this a shake as long as this Ziploc actually works, which is questionable at the best of times. The Ziplocs in ration items don't always work. As you can see, this one is fighting me tooth and nail. All right, we'll just give it the old roll and tuck and pray. God, that's hot. All right. So we got away without spilling too much. We didn't do a great job mixing it, so we'll get the old spoon, scrape off that Vegemite, and give everybody a nice toss around inside of there. And those mashed potatoes are looking excellent. I can't see if I got everything off the bottom, but I think I got them at just the right consistency, so I am going to scorch my fingers off, and we are going to get this big old portion of mashed potatoes out. Let's check these out. Little Vegemite added, little salt, little pepper. These ought to be, these ought to be pretty amazing. Pretty excited about the mashed potatoes. Not so excited about my burning fingers, though. Ooh. And that is a big, healthy portion of mashed potatoes without any doubt. This is going to be a really filling meal, which is awesome because I've been doing yard work all day to keep myself active through this process and get some shit done. This is a big ass portion of mashed potatoes. That's pretty awesome. And now for that lamb stew, which I am really excited about. That was boiled to a nice hot furious consistency. Let's take a look at that. That looks really oily. I almost wish I would have saved some of those powdered mashed potatoes to soak up some of the oil that's in that stew. See if I can bring that up to you so you can check out that oil content just kind of sloshing around in there. All right, let's get this mess out on the tray. Oh, it's almost like solid oil in the beginning. Yeah, there we go. Give me that lamb stew. That has a really high fat content. Great for a soldier. Great to keep you full and not hungry afterwards. All that lammy goodness, please. And all things considered, this looks pretty banging. I am going to go ahead and put some pepper on top of that. Maybe 1, to soak up a little bit of the oil, and 2, just to give it a little peppery kick. I like beef stew and other types of stews with a nice peppery kick, so we're going to go ahead and already kick that up a notch before we even bother getting it in our face. We're going to get some hotness in there. Dun, 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 dun. And we're definitely going to need to stir that up. Otherwise, it's just going to be a big pepper fest. Try to reincorporate that fat into the sauce of the stew. Give it a little stir. Now, I have to say, as far as rations go, obviously stew's not the sexiest thing out on the tray, but this looks like a really decent meal. I have a lot of sweets on the tray because I kind of saved a bunch of them for the end of the day, but this whole mashed potatoes and stew thing is just pretty hearty and wholesome looking. This stew absolutely smells great. Even the mashed potatoes have a nice smell to them. So let's tuck in and get a big old bite of this lamb stew. See what that is bringing to the dinner plate. See if we can do this without dripping it on my hands. Take a look at that nice lamb stew. Not too shabby looking. Let's get a bite of that. The lamb in that is nice and tender. This is very much like a traditional beef stew. The broth itself is just a little different, probably because of that really high fat content. It definitely needs some salt though, so we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of salt in there just to kick the flavor up a little bit. That lunchtime, like grandma baby shit, not for me. This, however, has a really nice savory flavor. Very close to what we would expect here in the United States as a beef stew, but just different enough to be absolutely interesting. Let's try this with that salt incorporated. I bet you this is going to be absolutely amazing. In the face with you, buddy. Oh, hell yes. That salt was absolutely what this needed. I don't even want to talk about it. I just want to slam it in my face. This is really excellent. Nice and creamy. Lots of lamb in here, even though it's in pretty small pieces. Potatoes and carrots, hunks of onion. This is really, really wholesome. Really yummy. This is something probably just about anybody could eat if you like beef stew in any way, shape, or form. I know this is lamb, but quite honestly, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. This is an excellent main. Very hearty, very satisfying. This is just good mood food right here. We got to get a big old bite of these mashed potatoes. I know you guys have seen mashed potatoes lots before in your life, but these are Australian mashed potatoes, so they're technically upside down, but you get the point. They're mashed potatoes. Let's try some of these guys. And for instant mashed potatoes, those are absolutely banging. These little green buggers in here, very likely some chives, maybe even a few flakes of green onion in here. It definitely has some onion flavor in there. The salt and the pepper was absolutely the right idea on the front end, and that little bit of Vegemite we put in there gave it just this really savory, yummy flavor. Just a little Vegemite goes a long way. And in something like instant mashed potatoes that have a tendency to be really plain, if you don't doctor them up, that's an excellent excuse to throw some Vegemite in there, get some B vitamins in. Listen to me, I'm like a Vegemite preacher now. Last Australian ration, I was hating this stuff. This particular time, now that I know how to use it, Vegemite is actually a really excellent ration component that I would highly recommend having in any ration. Not only for the vitamin B boost, but just for the amount of interesting flavor it can bring to savory items like these mashed taters. This is absolutely awesome. This is really good mood food right here. Gonna have to take some of those mashed potatoes, mix it up with a little bit of that stew, and get a big old stewy mashed potato bite. That's gonna be absolutely excellent. Flavor combination is completely on point with this. Absolutely glad I saved the mashed potatoes to have with the stew. Excellent idea. Highly recommend it. Oh, hell yes. This is such an excellent dinner. Absolutely amazing. Unless you needed your really, really heavy meal to be in the middle of the day, then I would say have your mashed potatoes and stew at lunch. As far as I'm concerned, this is an amazing, absolutely excellent dinner. Completely satisfying, good mood food. This is a great way to end the day. This combination is so good. There's just really no way to describe it. You're going to have to get you a Menu D from Australia, make up the mashed potatoes, add a little bit of Vegemite, mix them in with a bite of the stew. It is absolutely great, especially with all that black pepper I added. Gives it just a little bit of heat. The Vegemite gives the mashed potatoes just an absolutely excellent flavor. This is an amazing dinner. I can't stress that enough. As far as flavor, texture, consistency, and just the overall quality of this food, this is absolutely banging. Completely amazing. This is another one of those mains I'd like to just stick my face down in the tray like a bulldog drinking out of a water bowl and get every bit of the broth of that stew out of there. Absolutely amazing. And here we go with that final bite of mashed potatoes and lamb stew. Absolutely amazing. In the face with that. I'm really sorry to see this go. This was a great dinner. Maybe there was one last little bite in there, but you didn't need to know about that. And this is an absolutely hell yes 2 thumbs up spoon drop for those mashed potatoes and that lamb stew. Banging. And before we get on to all these sweet items, you know we gotta try this berry-flavored isotonic beverage, even though it doesn't look like it's berry-flavored in any way, shape, or form. Kinda looks like a big glass of piss, if I'm being honest, but I'm gonna give it a try anyway. Let's smell it first, just to make sure. Well, that certainly doesn't smell like a glass of piss. Not that I know what a glass of piss smells like, but it smells like berry, so we should be pretty safe in the face. That is absolutely excellent. Doesn't look great, but it tastes like every berry all at the same time. It kind of tastes like strawberry, kind of tastes like blueberry, kind of tastes like blackberry. It is very much a mixed berry flavor. That one doesn't even have anywhere near the salt content of the orange. I like that one way better than the orange. Not that the orange was bad. That's just got a really good sweet flavor to it. Completely hides the salt, and we didn't even put enough water in it. That's good stuff. Now let's move on to the rest of these sweet items. We're going to start with probably the least interesting item. We're going to get this chocolate ration out, and kind of a bummer, this looks like high temperature milk chocolate rather than dark chocolate. You know me, I'm always hoping for a nice big fat bar of dark chocolate. That is not what we got here, but this absolutely looks like a high temperature chocolate, a bit on the waxy side. Let's break some of that off. Give that chocolate a little chew and see what that chocolate ration is bringing to our dessert face. And that chocolate ration is very sweet. It really just has a generic milk chocolate flavor. Not my favorite, but to be fair, it's not bad at all. And I don't even mean generic in a bad way. It's not a particular kind of milk chocolate or a particular brand. It's just sweet. It's chocolatey. If you like milk chocolate, that would be perfectly acceptable. Certainly not my favorite, but not the worst chocolate bar I've ever had in a ration by far. And we've definitely got to give one of these little awesome jam biscuit sandwich cookies a try. Going to give you another look at that heart just because it's such an excellent item. We're going to take a bite of this. We're going to love every chew of it. These things are absolutely great. Shortbread cookies with a little fruit center and your little heart in the middle. So cute. Let's bite it in half. And that is perfectly sweet, nice and soft cookie on the interior, slightly crispy on the outside. That fruit center is a nice jam. Very, very pleasant flavor. Unless you didn't like cookies, these cookies would absolutely be a hit with anyone. These things are an absolute treat. Say bye-bye, cookie. And now we gotta move on to the citrus cake. I am dying to know what this thing tastes like, so we're gonna break a hunk of that off here. Take a look at the inside of that guy. It's very dense, almost kind of rubbery in its texture, at least the way it feels on the exterior. Let's grab this little piece and throw that in the face. That does have a little bit of an odd texture for a cake. Certainly tastes a lot like orange. One more bite, and then I'll really describe it to you. And that citrus cake is very moist, very yummy. The texture of it is the one thing that throws you off. Rather than having that overly thick and like stick to the inside of your mouth and teeth consistency like a lot of shelf-stable cake products do, this has almost like a rubbery consistency. It's very moist, doesn't stick to your mouth. One side of it that slid off the package just has this really smooth, glossy, like almost like oily and rubbery texture at the same time. It's pretty weird, only mildly sweet, weird texture, but excellent orange flavor. This is a win. Even with the weird texture, it's a total win, but we're about to hook it up proper with a little bit of that sweet and condensed milk. Let me get that going on. I mean, if you've been watching me for any length of time, you had to know. You absolutely had to know. The sweet and condensed was coming back out. When you saw that I didn't have the coffee because I was kind of hot and wasn't in the mood for a hot drink, I know, sacrilege, not wanting coffee, at least not at the moment anyway. You knew the sweet and condensed was going to make another guest appearance on this ration, so we are going to put some nice, sweet, creamy sweet and condensed milk on top of that orange cake. This is going to be absolutely amazing. Orange cake with sweet and condensed for the win. Let's pop a little bite of that in the face. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that pile of sweet and condensed milk yumminess just sitting on top of that orange cake. That is an absolute win. Puts a little bit of extra moisture and just a little extra sweetness with that citrus flavor. This is just like a pre-packaged dessert cake. This is absolutely excellent. Sweet and condensed milk for the win. Alright, and before we wrap up this ration, we better grab a couple of these fruit Mentos. I'm going to save the coffee and the tea to send out for part of the monthly giveaways, but let's grab a couple of these fruit-flavored Mentos and see what they are all about. I'm really happy I didn't get the musk-flavored Lifesavers this time. Let's pop a couple of these puppies out of here, see what fruit-flavored Mentos are bringing to our... maybe not the packaging. We don't want to eat that. That packaging is just kind of stuck to that Mento. We'll go for a different one. I don't really feel like eating any foil wrapper. That's kind of nasty. So we have 2 different Mentos there. No clue what flavor they are. Let's chuck those back in the face and see what a fruit-flavored Mento is all about. And those fruit-flavored Mentos were absolutely awesome. I think I got a strawberry and a pineapple at the same time, and that was an epic combination. They just get really soft, really chewy, take a little while to eat. They have a great flavor. Having a big stack of them to have in your pocket just to have a little energy boost and something to munch on throughout the day is absolutely awesome. Well, guys, this was dinner. It was amazing. Beat the hell out of lunch for sure. Drink was good. Mashed potatoes, awesome. Stew, awesome. Chocolate, mediocre, but I'm not a milk chocolate guy. If you are, you might have thought that was the best shit since sliced bread. That cookie, I'm saving that cookie for Mrs. Ration Nerd because she really needs to taste one of those. Even though my inner child is telling me, fuck that, eat the cookie, I'm totally going to save it for her. Dinner was an absolute hit. Aside from that weird pasty grandma shit, this has been a really awesome ration. So thank you guys for joining me here on Ration Nerd. Special thanks to all my Patreon members. You guys rock out with the absolute cock out. This was an excellent, fun ration to get into. Wasn't crazy about lunch. Everything else, I'm pretty much in love with. Australian rations are banging. Maybe there's an item or two that you would find through the menu list that would be kind of janky, but that's okay. Not everything is going to suit your taste buds. Maybe in Australia, they're loving some pasty grandma nastiness for lunch, and I am just out of my mind. Maybe my taste buds just don't work. But to me, that tasted like hot pasty grandma. That's not cool. Nobody likes that shit. And if you don't like that shit, do you know what you could do to help me? You could totally hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and as always, talk to me in the chat. It's always great to hear from you guys. If you really want to support the channel, if you're diehard and you want an opportunity to win this ration at the end of the second week of May, you could totally join my Patreon page. That would be most appreciated. There's a $3 tier, there's a $5 tier. I'm trying to make that quick and not overly do the whole Patreon thing, but seriously, my Patreon members, you guys are absolutely awesome. But you know how the rest of this shit goes. If you can find something as cool as this Australian CR1M menu D to put in your face hole, you know absolutely what to do. Eat 'em up.
I don't know why everybody would eat some pasty grandma. That should be nasty. Like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, you get to eat something that tastes like some mushy grandma. Like, nobody likes no mushy grandma in their face. If you do, you got some shit wrong with you. You need to get your shit checked out. Maybe see a psychiatrist.